Howdy howdy, this is a installation tutorial for the Advanced Clothing System VRChat assets. When you download it, it will come in a .unity package file. You will need to drag that into your Unity project and import it. In your project, you need Poyomi, you need VRC Fury, and obviously you need the VRChat SDK. Now, it will come in your project folder. You'll have a esoteric folder, Advanced Clothing System. Click into the Advanced Clothing System. This won't be here. Open prefabs. Keep in mind all of these ones have the simplest installation. This one's slightly complex, and this one you probably shouldn't attempt unless you're somewhat experienced with Unity, because just the way it works is kind of difficult to install for some people. But I'm going to run through all these unique ones really quick to just give you a visual aid for how to install these. First one I'll do burn, because again all of these ones have a practically identical installation. Burn, I'll have a prefab. You'll drag that under your avatar, and I'm just going to go through the readme here because it has been a minute since I've installed this. Okay, so yeah, we dragged it underneath your avatar, like so. And I'll take the clothing you wish to use, place under this. Okay, in this example, you'll have some clothing here. Oh, hold on. I don't want that. Why did the... Yes. Okay, and let me just remove the material changes I have on this. Just so you can see, your clothing will obviously come in something like this, look like so. And that's step one done. Okay, now when you copy point and dissolve clothing material, yada yada yada, what you do here is click this game object, go over to this, you can unlock this, doesn't matter. Shading, special effects, dissolve, copy this right here under special effects, go back to your clothing, and on each material that you want to be affected by the asset, you need to go into special effects, dissolve, and paste, just like so. Then t-shirt open back, because this is again another material. Some clothing will have a bunch of materials, some will just have one. You just want to do it on every single piece that you want to be affected. So paste, like so. There we go. Now you can test it by dragging the dissolve alpha, and you can see that it works there. Until it's clothing. Yeah, okay. Okay. Now step 2. Go to clothing material, make sure putting the selected shader for your clothing. Okay, yeah. So sometimes your thing may be like a standard shader like this. So you need to click the shader, Poyomi, and I have Poyomi Pro, but just do, you'll see like Poyomi Toon. And then, yeah, do the dissolve part. Okay, oh yes, yes. Here, make sure this is also set to cutout. It will probably be set to opaque or something else. Sometimes, usually just opaque. You need to set it to cutout. How you can know it's opaque as well is if you do the dissolve alpha. As you can see, it's just turning white. It needs to be set to cutout, so then it will properly disappear. Okay. Paste, cutout. Okay. And then these game objects also kind of walk you through it. Set to cutout. Open me, drag clothing to render. Okay, so also right click on this. It'll be blue when you drag it in because it's prefab. Right click, do prefab, unpack. I don't care. Now, click this game object, and for each material you have, you need to drag it into the renderer. Right here, this property. Now, you'll notice there's only one renderer. I can drag this in, but then I can't drag this one in because if I do, it replaces sweatpants. So, if you have more than one material, you need to do plus material property. There, I have 2. Copy this over like so. Drag sweatpants in. Just do that for however many materials you want to be affected. Make sure you copy over the property, and dissolve is set to 0. Just like so. Oh, this is a menu path. You can change this for whatever it is. Obviously, this is more of a shirt and pants. I can just call this comfy set. I don't know, something like that. You can also go menu icon, boop, right here, and you'll have a bunch of menus to pick from. you can drag something that's more appropriate into it, like so. Okay, also, exclusive tags. If you are using multiple prefabs, for example, if you have burn and flake, and then you have, obviously, 2 different sets of clothing for each set, and if the clothings conflict with each other, as in if you turn one on and then turn the other on, they would overlap, cause clipping, etc. You want to use exclusive tags. These are already set up. This is just if you don't want it. For example, if you use multiple effects and one is a pair of shorts and one is a shirt, and obviously you want to be able to toggle those on at the same time, go into here, options, and enable exclusive tags, so then when one toggle is turned on while another one's turned on, it will not turn that other toggle off. Okay, back to the readme. Okay, so that's done. Now for this one, drag armature to VRC Fury link from. So clothing have armatures. This one has 2 for each part. Keep doing that. Okay. So there's just one armature link in here right now. For this example, you drag in the hips part of your armature to here, link to hips. And then since we have 2 armatures for this set, most clothing don't have 2, most have 1, but this one has 2 because it's separated. We need another armature link, so we can link both of them. We previously linked this one, so now we need to link this one, so drag the second one in. There we go. Now, some clothing, if it's like, I don't know, something that just goes on your wrist, sometimes the asset creator will not make a full armature that starts at hips. Sometimes they will just say right wrist, and obviously this is linking the topmost game object to this and then sequentially going down it like a tree, just linking it to the avatar's armature. However, if, for example, your armature is titled right wrist instead of hips and there is no hip bone, and then you drag this in, it will be tying the right wrist to your hips. So if your armature link is like that and you need to target it towards something else, sometimes also the avatar creator will have their own armature link, so then you don't need this. You can just let theirs do the work. If they don't, then obviously if it's like a, wrist right, go in here, this one's wrist right, so you drag it in there, link to, and then wherever right wrist is in here. Has some strange names. You just do right upper arm, whatever. Just like so. We can move this back to hips because this is hips. Make sure it's named correctly. Hips. Sometimes targeting will not work correctly if it's on a different armature. You can turn these 2 off if your clothing looks all funky when it's toggled. Additionally, a lot of the times the avatar creator will have their own toggles for their own clothing. Clothing 1, and their own clothing will mess with their own game object, like so, whatever. And they'll be set to turn on, so then VRC Fury is basically turning this game object off. So this toggle, wherever it was, can turn it on, which then makes it in turn so this toggle does not work. So in the event that your clothing has toggles built in by the avatar creator, you need to remove the toggles. You don't have to remove the armature links. You can just remove this game object and use the avatar creator's armature links, but you need to remove their toggles, because if it's turning off or on the actual apparent container or whatever is holding the mesh render itself, then this toggle right here will not work, because it's not doing the same thing. It's messing with the material property. The shirt's basically already on. It's just making the shirt visible, while their toggle is literally turning the shirt off. So then, the local one won't work. It may still kind of work if you toggle the toggle, so then the shirt's now on, but obviously still invisible because this toggle, and then you toggle this toggle, which then makes it visible, but no one wants to do that, so just remove other toggles that may conflict. Secondary menu, you can remove this, of course, so it's just like you can have your own clothing section, and then you can remove this so that it just appears in clothing. And then secondary menu, you can drag your own icon in here. So then you'll have a clothing submenu with that icon, and then this will be inside here in the onesie thing, or whatever you call it, your menu path will have this menu icon right there. That is pretty much it for this installation. It's pretty easy. Again, you can contact me on Discord if you need help for the burn one, and I will jump to the lightning one. Again, go to prefab, drag it under here, go through here, put clothing under this. So we'll put the clothing under this, copy point we dissolve. Again, go into here, you can unlock, you don't technically have to do that. Copy and then go here and then paste your new dissolve there. Set clothing material to cutout, again, needs to be cut out. Open me, oops. Again, prefab, one pack, yes. Open me, drag, same exact thing here. You just drag the render in. You know, if you have multiple, you need to make another material property, drag the other one in, copy dissolve alpha. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Again, same concept with armatures. It's the same concept with conflicting toggles as well, same exact thing. The only difference here is that you have the step 5 open me particles, and what you need to do is click this thing and change its size, going to the size tool, to generally fit around your avatar. There's the lightning effect, and that's literally it. This thing will follow it around. So then just like generally something like this, from like the top of your head to your feet. You can have it wider if you want, it's whatever, but just generally around your avatar. And that's it for lightning. Now, for teleporter, we can drag this in. Okay, this one's the most complex again. You'll have this game object, place overhead, and generally just put it a bit over your head, like so. If you have ears that, like, let's say this is technically above your head right here, but the ears stick out. You should actually just put it above the highest point on your avatar, I guess. So, like, a bit above the ears, like that. Place under feet, again, just slightly under your feet, not on your feet, but slightly under your feet. Okay, put clothing under this. Again, we drag into there. Set dissolve starting in endpoint. Okay, so the material is right here. You're going to need to unlock this one. The dissolve starting in endpoint. This is a bit confusing, but let me show you what this means. You have the dissolve right here, and this one's point to point. It has a start point and an end point. You have these two game objects. As you can see, they have their own Y values right here. Take the place overhead Y value right here, copy it, go back over to number 5, this, and you can see this one has the bigger Y value, so in the endpoint, paste that Y value in, and then this one has a smaller one, place under feet, go back to step 5, paste it under a small one right there. Now, that step is done. Now, copy point me dissolve to clothing material, and boom, copy. On each material that you want to be affected, go into here, boom, paste, like so, boom, paste. Okay, make sure it's set to cutout again, and yep, set to cutout. Okay, you can also double check it works by dragging the alpha. Oh, right. Okay, I should have mentioned this on the earlier ones as well, because this does apply to all of them. You need to make sure that after you're done installing it, the dissolve alpha, you drag it to 1. This applies to everything, including the burn. Because by default, this material that you're copying from here is not at 1. It's at 0, so you can still see it, and so you can play and double check that the dissolve is working, so it doesn't just disappear. It has to be set to 1 because the toggle sets this animated property to 0, so it has to start at 1, being invisible. Then the toggle toggles it to 0, goes through the animation, and that's just what makes it visible. If it's like set to 0.5, it'll be half visible, and then it'll like go to fully visible from half visible. You don't want that. And if it's at 0, it'll just always be invisible. The toggle won't do anything. So make sure after you're done and you double check that the dissolve is what you want. You can always, of course, change it to another prefab if you don't like the way it looks. You don't even have to drag everything new in. You can just drag in a new one and go to this right here and, you know, copy the dissolve, and then delete this and then paste it into your, this thing, is the same exact animated, property, so it'll still work just fine. Just make sure it's set to 1, for every single one. Okay, teleporter. Back to this. Cutouts. Yes. Okay, so yeah, we have it set to cutouts, and then we have verified that this one works. Again, with all these dissolves, you can also change the color. To, you know, just feel free to play around with these settings. I just changed it to what I think looks good. The plane, keep in mind, is also blue in this one. Derivatives plane. This thing, so you can change the color here. So I just have blue, so it kind of matches there. Okay, so right, we have set the point to points, copied them over. Now open me, drag to render. Again, boom, prefab, unpack, yes. Okay, drag to render. Right, okay, this part's the reason this one's the most complicated. You can remove this. By the way, that I just removed, this is for, if you have a piece of clothing, like a piece of armor, which is commonly used with this effect, that needs the body mesh to also disappear as the material for the clothing appears, you'll need to make a second animation clip that does the complete opposite of what this one's doing, by the way. Window, animation. Drag this into here. There. Size these windows because I don't usually use one window like this. And just for recording. Okay, so you'll have your animation window scene. You click, hold on, that's my train of thought. Teleporter, right, click that. This animation window will have these things, record. This is where you're going to want to, you can delete these, and then, so, you go in here, you need to record, push this red button right here, and you're gonna need to record for each material that you've pasted in frame 0, this dissolve alpha being set to 1 and 1. Hold on, that's not. Oh, wait, I must have another thing here. Oh. Hold on. Okay, right, I have that. That's what's causing. Well. There we go. Okay, yes, that was. Okay, so head over here, record. Red button. Set on frame 0, it's 1. You'll see the properties appear right here. Do that for each material you have. If you just have one, again, you're just going to have one property there. Frame 0, set to 1 on the dissolve alpha, and then go to frame 120. And then you can just go right here and set it to 0. So then you can see in this window right here, zoom out, you have it going from 1 at frame 0 to 0 to 0 at frame 120. That's 122, but you get the picture there. Okay, now that you've done that, you can click the record button, so it's no longer recording. Select the keyframes, right click, both tangents linear. Make sure you do that, or the animation just will be slightly off. It just improves its alignment with the toggle animation. Okay, so there's that. Now we have our animation clip. Again, record your close. This is playing this thing we just recorded. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you, again, need to make your body disappear, you have this one. You can add another animation clip. See, I don't even know where that is. So you can just copy this, actually. Go in here. We can add that. We need to also, if you do this, you need to go into Window, Animation, Animator, drag this here. We can go to, what? Ah, I see. Okay. Drag your new copied one into here, so then it's just in there, and go to Animation. Now you have this second one that's just called 1. You don't need these properties. You'll need to take the material that you have right here, special effects, dissolve, copy. You're going to need to place it onto your body, dissolve right here, paste it, and then you're going to need to record the body going from just doing the opposite, going from 0 and then from 1, and then you're going to need to do that with every single material that you want to disappear. I can help with that if you need help, because it can be a little tricky. Okay, so we're going to delete this because we're not using this. And also, if it's too complex for the teleporter, you can just use one of the simpler dissolves for an armor kind of asset that you need your body to disappear. Because it can be some tricky, and in some very specific instances, it's not even possible due to like custom shader stuff. Like these eyes don't disappear because they're custom shaders. It has to be Poyomi. It's just specific scenarios like that where it just doesn't really work. So then you just need to go about it differently. But anyhow, again, that's really just the hard part. The rest of this is exactly the same. You can rename the menu path, exclusive tag, same concept. Go into this, drag whatever icon you want. You can set the secondary menu to, actually that one didn't even have a component. You can use a menu, what's it, menu, I think that, yeah, and just whatever. If you just want to set this clothing thing to whatever, just do that. There you go. Voila. Bada bing, bada boom. Remove. Oops. Wait. There we go. Okay. Can remove that. And that's pretty much it. Again, armature. Just like drag your little hip armature into there, just so it works for each thing. I have another one, so just make another armature if you have multiple armatures. Again, especially with armor sets, avatar or asset creators will usually make their own toggles in them nowadays using VRC Fury, so you need to make sure that those toggles are not conflicting by setting the master game objects to off, which will then make this toggle not work. But again, feel free to keep around their armature links because those don't conflict. You can just delete that game object. If there's nothing set in it, VRC Fury will automatically delete it as well, so it doesn't really matter. It's not taking up any performance because it just gets deleted on upload. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I have the Discord links. Oh, wait, hold on. You can also toggle this plane. And again, change the way this looks in Veroni. Just play around with these. They're kind of fun to mess with. Lots of stuff you can do. Tons and tons of stuff. But yes, that's the plane. Oh, if you do decide to mess with it, make sure you turn that off. If you leave it on, it will literally always just be floating over your head like that, which you don't really want, in my opinion. Unless you do, then go for it. That's great. Okay, that's a lot of helicopter. Yeah, that's pretty much it, though. Again, yeah, teleporter is kind of complex to install just because, well, with VRC Fury toggles, I tried for a while, but couldn't really get it to just work out of the box without custom animations being set. It just wasn't really possible. But yes, if you need any help, especially with this one, it can be tricky, feel free to join the Discord. Of course, free to help, open quite a bit, and so just feel free to reach out. I hope this installation tutorial helps for all that are confused about this one, and hope you have a good day. See ya.